experience.
Yeah, you know it's a reality, you know. Yo, shot. You know it's a real thing in life. You know, real estate real all the time.
The journey, the experience, the hub.
By now, this gallery, this place, this space is not a strange place for many people right now. Friend, you just came and you revamp what you was already doing,
Yeah.
and you take the microphone, as always,
Yep.
and you have given it to others for their voices to be heard.
Definitely.
At this point, I think I need to say congratulations.
Yeah, thank
I'm
you, man.
very proud of you because you are doing what you was always doing. You just reinvent the wheel at this point in time.
Yep.
Tell me about the journey. Tell me what make you get up and say, KG, we doing this still or no, but we doing this differently.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who know me know I've been doing different things, as
Yeah.
you see, with the microphone. You know, even with the camera. You know, the microphone and the camera is like my two
Your tools.
best friends.
Yeah.
You know, ever since. Started off as an artist doing the music, and the reason why I went into production and videography was for the same reason why I went into podcasting.
Right.
You know, because at that time I felt like it had a missing space in the industry. You know, we going through the industry and we trying to bust, as they call it. And you're looking for strategies, and 90% of the time they wouldn't work.
Yeah.
You know?
I like
So,
that honesty too.
Yeah.
90% of the times, it's not going to work.
Yeah, it never gonna work. You know? So you're looking for the strategy, but also you have to take time and rock back and ask yourself, what is the smartest move we could make now? At some point in time, that thought does always come to your head. What could we really do? Well, because doing all these things and nothing really working, what do we really have to do? And at that time, I felt like music videos was lacking for the youths on the ground.
Right.
You know, like when, like we just say, like you're watching football or you're watching basketball and you're seeing all these professional players, but you're seeing people around you who playing football and basketball and they're looking just as good as what you're seeing on TV. I used to see young artists around me who could have sing just as good as, you know, who could have dressed just as good as, who had everything just as good as. It's just that they wasn't getting what they needed, which was like the productions, the music videos.
The exposure.
Yeah, it was expensive. So I decided, you know what, let me learn to do that and see if I do that, if maybe that will help. And it did help.
Yes.
You know, Trinibad and Zest and all these things emerged from that type of strategy, not waiting for,
The opportunity.
not
or
trying to
creating
go out
the
there and
opportunity
pay
for
somebody to do a
yourself.
video for you. Or,
Yeah.
you know, we could do it too. So when people see KG going into the ghettos and doing videos, it inspire a whole generation of videographers too, who start to say, all right, I like that strategy. Let me work with some ghetto youths. Let me do some Trinidad music. Let me do some Zest. And that up the, you know, up the whole vibes. Then time passed and I felt like, all right, we had the music, we had the videos, we had everything. But where the interviews, where the conversations? Why I not seeing Swanee on a platform talking about his life? Why I not seeing so many, you know, like so many of our young emerging talent that we've been seeing for the past how long? We still not really getting a chance to get to know them now, you know. So that was my initial thought. And then I just started to interview like anyone that I wanted to interview.
Yeah.
Whether it be legendary, political,
Upcoming.
it don't matter. Whoever I think have a story, and you know, and the show turned into this is a platform for everyone to come and express themselves, you know, all the artistic, especially the artists, you know, because as I said earlier, I felt like the industry was missing
Something.
it was missing that. You know, I always love to go on interviews and You know that. Me and Tameeka do interviews that never even come out.
Yes.
We just do test runs and all different things. We always was on this path. We always
Correct.
knew that this
That
was
is correct.
something that we wanted to do, and this was something that was necessary now. And I also proud of you too, I must say, because you doing the same thing, Tameeka. We just in two different
Thanks, friends.
lanes,
We're in
but
two different
yeah, but
realms.
we pushing the vibes.
That is exactly what
You
we're
know?
doing. How
Yeah.
long has KG Talks been in existence now?
I would say about a year.
And in this year, you want to tell
Last
us?
year was like I started in January and I just was consistent from then.
Yeah, and that is
Yeah.
what a lot of people miss. Like just how you said, 90% of the times it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But for that 10% to work, consistency
Yeah.
is what actually makes it work.
Correct.
In this year, interacting with so many different people, what has been one of your most remarkable interviews thus far?
I been real with you. I enjoy all my interviews, but if I really had to choose one, that's a really good question. Because I just enjoy just doing what I do and like just hearing the different stories.
Yes.
Everybody had their own perspective.
Yes.
And that's what I just enjoy the most. So I will look at anybody's perspective as better than anybody own, and I just enjoy to sit down right in this gallery sometimes and just listen to
people.
people's story and the journey and the way how they think and but I'll say Wendell Naipaul. I really enjoyed that Wendell interview. Yeah, I don't know why. Wendell real too. He was one of the first to come on the platform and kind of set it in a way where people understand that you could be yourself on KG platform.
Yes.
You have to be uptight.
No.
Wendell talk about Super Cat, thumping them and thing. Even Umi Makano, Umi.
That was a good one, by the
Umi
bar.
was very transparent.
And Umi was by the
Smooth.
bar, correct.
Yeah, very transparent. I like the transparent interviews, the ones where they don't care, they just
Those are the
be
ones
real.
that naturally flow.
Yeah,
For those of you all wondering, the more authentic you are, is the better the conversation
course.
flows, is the
Of
better that the
course.
conversation goes. And I think that is a message you could send out to people out there, is that you live in your truth.
Yep.
You live in your truth, and
Yep.
as I always say, your story is my story is your story.
Yep.
And there have been interviews you had, people gave their rebuttals to some of the things that people said on your
Yeah,
platform. How
definitely.
do you deal with the how would we
Yeah.
phrase it? With the opinions of others.
With the backlash.
With the backlash.
The backlash you might get.
Yes.
I actually really love it, and I wanted to know that. So all who try and feel a little comments and thing go shut my thing down or they lie, because if it's one thing about me, everything I do is strategy.
Yes.
So I don't just do things. So if I put out a clip, I know
Why
the backlash
you
that is
do
going to
what
come with
you
it,
do.
and I also understand algorithms and engagement and a lot of people who enter the world of content creating and thing, they run from that. That has depressed them and they see negative comments. I happy when I wake up and see all they arguing under my thing.
No, well, friend,
That is engagement.
Well, it's a good thing with the friends.
And that's
because-
telling of my views.
Listen
And brother, I tell you all the straight
we
up,
welcome it.
we welcome it.
I, on the
Yeah.
other hand, my cameraman just tell me, post and don't read. I go read.
I read it,
Right?
Yeah, I take my time and read.
I don't want to see.
But me don't pray it. I don't even reply to comments, Tameeka. My people does reply for me.
Look,
So
my-
people who love
look,
me
my
and people
cameraman.
who rate me, they may be like, "Are you talking by?" And I would just rock back and watch. Because I love it. I understand that engagement is what is build your show and build and build and build your thing. So we need that. We can't
and
run from
differences
that.
actually
Opinions,
actually makes it really intriguing where you
Yep.
get to see, all right, I say this, somebody else say something different, and there are people
But that's
who
not
take
why
in.
we doing this for.
No. This is passion. This
Yeah.
is purpose.
We're doing this and we're doing this for
This is
conversation.
purpose.
Yeah. So if Tameeka have a show and you're talking about, let me just say, give me a topic, something that you've been talking about.
Well, I mean, in the era right now, let's say we're talking elections. We're in a political
Right.
atmosphere. We're in the
Right.
lead up to 2025
Right.
elections. So let's circle on that.
Right. So if you are talking about elections, your whole point is not to get everybody to think like you.
Correct.
But is also to just get the conversation,
Going.
make people aware of why politics is so important, why we need to vote. So that's how I always look at it. Even though you might disagree with something on my show, I still welcome it, as I say, because I want us to have the conversation about the soca mafia. I want us to have the conversation about why more youths not getting recognition.
Yes.
I want us, we don't have to agree right now,
Nope.
but one day we could come together and we could change what we are trying to change now. So the conversation is important.
And we welcome the conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's talk about the concept of content creation.
Yeah.
You took it upon yourself, you decided, okay, KJ, I am going to learn the necessaries. You did that.
Yeah.
Now you are in the execution process because you put in the time,
Right.
you put in the experience, you know what it is you're doing. We are living in a realm where a lot of young persons are gravitating to that field. Everybody is intrigued, everybody is excited, everybody wants to be an influencer. Right? Let's talk about some of the positives and some of the negatives of being in that content creation world. Another good question.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah, definitely. You know, the positives, I mean, first and foremost, if you don't have passion for something, it's
Don't
better
do it.
just leave it alone. You know, because it will feel like work, it will be very tedious, it will be hard, it will feel like it is hard, and you're going to give up. I believe most people that give up on the dreams, that wasn't really the dream.
Yeah.
You know? So wherever you dib and dab in the content creation, well, because people will just see me at a podcast
And try it.
and say, I gonna talk to artists too. But you can't talk to artists like me because I've been in the industry for years. I've had experiences in the industry, so that is why when I sit down with an artist, it will have a certain effect. I am passionate about this. I'm
Yeah.
not just having a conversation
We
with
hear
a
it.
man.
We hear it in your your
Yeah.
interviews, eh?
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
I'm passionate about this music industry. So me creating that type of content never feels like work. Even if I don't get paid from it, I will still do it. You know, all these things. I will continue to push. I'll be consistent. It'll be easier for me to be consistent. You know? So that is my advice on the
Getting in the
on
content
positive
creation
side.
world, yeah.
Make sure and love what you're doing. And I mean the negative side is, I guess, if you don't really have the guts to really, as you know, like the comments and things, don't comment this either.
I feel like you're trying that for me right now.
No, that will tell you, because I know a lot of people who in this space, even before I was in this space, I remember I would be around like artists who bust, right? But they would still be sad, like they would have this sad energy over them now. It was very common. Like even when you look at a lot of artists internationally who commit suicide
Yeah.
and who take
Yeah.
drugs and whatever, and you always ask yourself, them
Why?
rich and famous now.
What
Why? You know,
happened?
like,
yeah. What caused any sadness?
Yeah, until I enter this space and I realize it's because it have a lot of artists or artistic people that have low self-esteem and just take on what people just say because they are on a pedestal, so they are putting themselves somewhere where people every day people are throwing tomatoes at you, you know, every day, and you have to just take that because I can't ruin my brand and this and that, and people disrespecting you, and I know that is a main reason why they are depressed. You know?
I love what you just said
Yeah.
there because many creatives hide themselves in their work.
Right.
I could testify to that.
Right.
And once your work is not received in a manner in which
Right.
you envision it to be
You feel that way.
received, it really puts you
Of
in a
course.
dark place. And I think people don't understand this.
Right.
I think it's very brave and very bold and very commendable for a creative to want to welcome other people
Right.
into what they're drawing, what they're singing, what they're creating.
Right.
But I think people miss the part that once this is not received how
Yeah,
I
you'll feel that
expected to, it puts you in a deep hole.
Right.
And then we dealing with the comments and we dealing with the opinions and it
correct.
just keeps adding and adding and adding.
Right.
That's a really important point.
Yeah, so I say like when I came in this space, well, before I even came in this space, I already noticed that about my friends who was in this space. You know, and I told myself I would never be like that. You know, the day I get through in any kind of way, I will never allow that to shift me. If I put out a video today and I get 500 views,
It's
so be
500
it.
views, yeah.
That video wasn't supposed to get
Yeah.
10,000 views. And recently I noticed that even more now because obviously it will have some videos that
Will peak more than the
more than
others.
some now. And I start to realize as your cameraman tell you, post and don't even watch it. You understand? And I start to like really do that type of energy, like you post, like I will post a video now and then record a podcast while out on the internet.
Yes.
I not even studying that. I on to the next, I working, and I realize that type of mindset is what is push your thing. Instead
I
of
tell
praying
you,
the thing.
listen to me, my cameraman say, listen, we thinking like Beyonce. They tell
Right.
Beyonce, post
Post and don't look back.
and don't look back.
Post and don't look back.
And it has been one of the things that I'm doing, and it's really working. Like,
Yeah, of
okay,
course.
cool, no problem.
Yeah.
As you say,
Just put in the-
next.
put in the work.
Who
Just
we have
put in the
next?
work. Correct, who we have
Let
next?
us get on the topic of the bus, because the bus run for a long time in the carnival season.
The bus.
The bus, when I bus.
The bus.
Who bus? Who in bus? How to bus? How we define in the bus?
Right.
After conducting these conversations, after hearing persons' opinions, are you going to agree that there's really a soca mafia or there isn't a soca mafia?
I just bring up the word soca mafia because I find very entertaining now.
No, but we have heard it so many
I
a
find it
times
real
from so
funny
many
now.
different
I find that
persons.
word so funny, yeah, like what you ask is a soca mafia, you know, like what, like there's some kind of bad man thing.
Well, we want
El
to know.
Chapo kind of thing, you know. But everybody had their own perspective on what is the soca mafia now, so it's very interesting to me. The reality is though that our industry in Trinidad is not governed properly, and we know that. Everybody know that.
We could take that.
Yeah, everybody know that.
We could take, and that's not a biased statement.
And also we have a culture of, you know, now everybody want to be on the top and nobody want to pull up nobody. So that alone is a problem. And that's what I just fight for. The word soca mafia, everybody had their own, you know, belief on what is that. But I personally just find that our industry way too slow, you know, and we could do more. Like just like how I have a podcast, you have a podcast, independently. And look how quick we do that, you know, boom, boom, 2 podcasts on the ground already. These are things that I would have loved to see the bigger heads do now, boy, like intentionally create platforms to intentionally help
But
the new
okay,
generation.
so what
now.
I will add to what you are saying is that even if the big heads don't create the podcast themselves, I want to use the word create the avenues
Yeah,
to
the
have the
infrastructure.
podcast
Yeah.
be available on
Yeah.
a wider scale.
Yeah.
So, okay, you don't want to take on the responsibility of sitting and having the conversation. It's time consuming.
Yeah.
All right, we have people who will do it. After it's done now, are there platforms, are there avenues where, listen, this KG Talk streaming every Wednesday, the Hub streaming every Friday,
Right.
and I think that's where we need to get, because there is a portion of young persons, we're not waiting for the opportunities, we're creating the opportunities.
Yeah.
But then when we create it and we package it, what's next to do with it?
Right. For like a good example is Teotiong. I just found out, I didn't even know this, that he was the owner of Synergy TV.
Well, look, you informing
You
me
know?
and tonight too, look, we're learning.
So who told me that? Hans told me that.
Right.
So something simple as that. I didn't even know that 'cause he wasn't involved in that. But he's ahead.
Yeah.
He had the finances. He had all these things. And he could have invested in a burger shop. He could have invested in a bar. But he said, you know what? I see the vision in music and arts locally. And he invested in this thing called Synergy TV. And that alone changed so many lives.
Yeah, and that has been running for years.
You know,
for
Synergy put
years.
so many of us on the map for the first time. So something simple as that, that is what I don't really fight for. Like just that, like we have a industry right now with youths that is doing something. It's not just a thing, it's a real thing.
It is, it is.
You know? So our leaders, is just 1.4 of us here. So we should intentionally see these things and be like,
Let's gravitate it.
Let's put some muscle behind that.
I like
and make
it.
Trinidad.
I like it.
Come
I
on,
like it.
let me think forward.
So if
you know?
we are to make the statement that young people lazy, we'll be lying.
I mean, some people lazy, but it also have an immense amount of youths that not lazy and putting in the work. We know that for sure. You know, so just putting us with, and they love to do that. You know, they will watch one lazy youth and say, The youths are
Generalize
number
it.
one opportunities.
Generalize it.
You know, like
Yeah.
the opportunities they must talk about in this country. Like I want to be too political, but I know it's KG and we just be real.
Oh
you know?
Lord, Ole, watch me.
We just be
Watch me.
real.
Watch
Right?
me.
We just be real. But Foster Cummins, and these people who talk about programs, and I hear all here and I see all here, I understand. But you have to remember, it's not all youths just want to be a plumber, bro. It's not all youths just want to plant garden, bro. We have bigger dreams too. We have, if all you only know, like the talent the youths really have now, like that long time thing. You understand? Trade and thing is long time thing. Nobody don't want to put on a pipe. You understand? Men want to do real things without AI technology and all kind of thing going on here. You feel like a man want to build a cupboard?
So, I like the direction in which the conversation.
Tameeka.
Wait. Remember, you come on my podcast, you didn't call me to come on KG Talks. I call you to come on the hub, right?
Yeah.
I like the direction the conversation going because I was purposefully going to ask you, like, let's say 15 minutes from now,
Right.
if for young people, election is really based on a race thing or based on what opportunities I can get from a governing party. I wanted us to go in this direction, but you bring us here, right? You just said that there are so many other things that young people in 2025 want to do.
Want to do, yeah.
Content creation has now become an actual job.
A main thing.
The reality is there's an era of persons who don't believe that it's an actual job.
Right.
We could testify
Of
to that,
course,
right?
definitely.
I have friends who are heavily involved in content creation and their parents are still telling them, but you're not working a real job.
Yeah.
That's not paying, right? We taking that. I don't want to downplay the fact that our present government has implemented programs that is going to allow young people to grow, because having a trade, nobody could never take that from you.
Of course.
Right? I am going to agree with you, however, it's now looking to revamp the wheel. So the wheel that we were currently using, let's enhance it.
Yeah.
And like you said,
Definitely.
let's add AI.
Correct.
Let's add content creation.
Yeah, forward thinking.
So I just wanted us to clarify that. I didn't want it to come across like, KG saying he totally against the programs that the government have.
No. When I speak very clearly too. So before I say it, I see her. I understand. Trade. That good vibes, you know? But I need the, as I say, what I does fight for. Because I remember what I does really fight for, you know? I fighting for the youths and them who have talent in the music and the arts and that kind of vibes. And I personally feel like we did a lot without the help.
Yeah.
So just imagine.
I could attest, I could give that.
The help. And
what will happen?
And if we intentionally, as you were saying, like, yeah, plumbing and all these things are great. But if you pay attention to the youths, you will understand that that is not really it. That is not really what the youths and them want to be today. You know, we had to understand
we have to adapt to the
what
times.
Your daughter want to be.
Yeah.
What your son want to be. Do he really want to be a plumber? Or he just doing plumbing because that he last resort? Are we pushing youths in the last resort corner? All right, well, you can't get a work, so go and do plumbing. The system hard, so go and do, nah.
So let me ask you this.
You know, nah.
KG is the Minister of Youth Development.
Yeah.
Right? We're creating a scenario here.
And I love that word, youth
development.
Developing the youth.
Right. So KG is the Minister of Youth Development. And you are standing on a program, on a podium, addressing us as to why it is we need to buy into what you are selling. Tell me, as the Minister of the Youth Development Agency, what would you bring to the table in 2025?
Woo! Damn.
Remember, you didn't call me to come on your podcast. I call you to come on mine.
Damn. I mean, don't get me wrong, eh? That is a wonderful question. Because doing what I does do, like working with youths, and I always wanted to how to put it, to partner with a government official.
Yes.
You know, so R.I.P. Lisa Morris, you know. I grew up with them, you know, I grew up with Lisa and them from birth, you know, the whole Morris family. When she was in politics, before she really was deep in the politics, I used to help her do certain things, like songs for Arima, for like all different things, right? All different cultural things in Arima, production-wise. And so I always used to tell myself, I want to slot myself there. Like,
Yeah.
I want to be somebody that could work with a government official and bring quality and bring certain content, as we say, to the thing. So if I had to really say, you know, I would say, as I say, youth development, developing the
The
youths.
youth.
But you had to ask yourself, what are you developing?
Right.
As I was saying, are you just pushing a youth to his last resort and calling it development? That could never be development. You know, development is developing something that is probably already there. You know, it have youths that have hidden talents in them. Pay attention, you know. But when I look at movies like with Michael Jackson or all these different things, and you realize why they're there, why Michael Jackson was there, why Marshall Montano is where he is today. His parenting, his guidance. It was somebody seeing Marshall and seeing the talent and insist.
Right. So you as the minister now,
You know?
how would you be able to see, you see this youth man here or this young lady here, she has what it takes.
Right.
And within seeing that, I am going to align her
That
in a
is it.
particular direction.
But it's not hard. It's not even no maths. It's really just being real. Like me, if I see a artist, he could be nobody. I could hear talent, and I could take my camera, and something simple as that could make him into a star.
So are you saying is that it's about time that...
Be intentional.
Yeah, I was
Be
going to ask,
intentional.
do you think it's about time now that we really put effective
Yeah.
time into our young people?
Yeah, yes. That is the only way. I don't see it no other way. When, as I say, when we talk about programs and trade, that's all well and good. But to me, we had to be more direct. You know, like when you send your child to school, the first thing as a parent you think about, if you're a real parent, is how much training in the class.
Yeah.
Would
Yes.
he or she get individual
Yes.
attention?
Yes.
So it is that in
Yeah.
life too. Youths need individual attention. Go into these areas, see who really have what it takes. Grab them, shift them,
Mold
push them, inspire them. I just do it, or other people who just do it. If all you call yourself leaders, that is your work. Don't go up there and then play like that is not your work. That is your work. Be intentional, that all.
This brings me to the topic of mentorship.
Definitely.
I firmly believe that we lack so much of this.
And we underrate how important it is.
How important actually having a mentor is. I dislike holding an event for one day and you have children sitting speaking to this person and that they never get to see them again after this. I think the concept of
Right.
the concept of that, it's very shallow.
Yeah.
Because the reality of it, many of our children come from households without a father figure.
Also remember, we're talking about strategy.
Right.
If that was a strategy we probably used to use back in the days.
It's not working now.
It's not working out.
It's not working now.
Change the strategy.
Yeah. So I want to know if you are in agreement with me when I say one of the things that is lacking in society, one of the things that is lacking in the compartment of our youth development is that of mentorship.
Yeah.
We could agree to that, right?
Yeah, correct. A lack of mentors.
A lack of
and a lack of
mentors, which
mentorship.
is, yeah.
Definitely. Facts. I think that is it. That is all. We can't save everybody.
But we could save a good
But
amount.
I sure about
We
that,
could save a
boy.
good amount.
I sure,
Yeah.
boy. This
Yeah.
place too small to act like if we can't be we brothers keeper, boy. Man ain't living no 6 hours drive and thing away from nobody here.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a stone throw away your brother is. You could do more. And the ones who supposed to do more is the ones who should do more. You know, they have the power to do more. So do more and be intentional. Don't feed you with a slingshot. You know, come up, be intentional.
I am. Now, you have brought us here, right? And I think it's only fitting that two young people sitting on a platform that they have created,
Yeah.
that we address the elephant in the room. And one of the elephants in the room currently is that we are mere days away from a general election. We have a high percentage of young people who are saying that, I'm not voting.
Yeah, sure about that.
Me not have time to vote. I don't know how again to reach that young person to tell them you need to exercise your civil duty.
Damn.
And your civil right and your civil duty as a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago is to go out
It's
and
to
vote.
Yeah.
I don't know if you say it on your platform, if it might register, but I am just trying just to reach
Yeah.
a percentage of us young people to understand, hey, get up on the 28th and go and vote.
Yeah.
Your voice matters.
And not only just vote, but it's real hard to tell them because when I was young, nobody could not tell me take
True.
politics serious now.
True.
'Cause what was it like? What to take serious? As a youth watching the thing now, it's only when I get older I start to realize why I should take it serious. You know, especially this election.
Yeah. You
You
know,
know?
right? I was telling my father last night, this is my third or fourth time being able to vote. And this is the first election
Where you're feeling it.
where I am so concerned as to what may happen if a particular party comes in, what may happen if they implement these policies. This is the first time in my life, KG.
The world literally changing in front of our eyes.
It is.
A lot of madness happening in front of our eyes.
It is.
Through that pipeline, that political, and not just here like you're watching things
It's worldwide.
with Donald Trump.
It's worldwide.
You know, it's dread right now. I feel like we living in a serious dictatorship
What is
type of
this?
society.
There's an episode of The Simpsons. That's what they say.
It's not feeling normal.
It isn't.
You know, you have to just sit down and be like,
So let me ask you, we sit down here, right? We're talking to the young people in terms of taking this, especially this 2025 election, this serious.
Yeah.
I honestly want to tell them, think about not just 5 years down the road, but 10 years down the road. And being somebody's mother, I am thinking about what will be there for her.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there are other young parents like me who take in the election from that perspective.
Of course, of course.
How you seeing it?
Exactly what you said there. Like, this election is for us too, you know, but it's really for the younger generation. Like, what kind of life they going on, you know, because we come up any time where it was bittersweet, you know.
I like how you say that.
Yeah, bittersweet, but now it's bitter.
It bitter
Like
bad.
a Riley,
Yeah.
you know. So I look at it the same way, like my nieces and my nephews, and I'll be like, wait, boy, what type of Trinidad you going and grow up in? You might grow up in a Trinidad where you might never get a visa.
Look
You
at
know?
that.
You might never be able to just travel to America like
Look
how
at
we
that.
used to. Like we might talk about these
We
things.
could
like,
pull
you know, like,
pictures, we could pull
we
pictures and be like, boy, watch.
You understand?
And that is a reality.
Yeah, because it's getting tight, you know.
And then they could also grow up in a world where there's absolutely no middle class.
Yeah.
There's just upper class, lower class.
You
There's
know?
absolutely nothing in the middle.
Yeah.
For to say, well, all right, our children, they work hard, they think, they might be millionaires, you know, but they could live
But they might
comfortable.
never even taste, you know, now, that little bittersweet, as I say, we had it. So I think about that a lot, and as I say, this election is different. So I would tell the youths, you know, that is why on my show right now I interviewing, you know, some politicians and that kind of vibes, because I trying to get the word out there, same way too, that I believe we should vote, you know, and we should vote based on who do you think. You know, don't let nobody get in your brain and who your grandparents used to vote for, who your friends want to vote for. You know, people be coming in my chat and telling me who to vote for. You know, I find that real off though. Like them go see me in a picture with Michaela Pandey and just assume I go and vote for Michaela Pandey and be like, KG, you know, you have to vote for UNC. Nah, you can't tell me who to vote for. You know, that kind of way. So have a mind of your own.
Yes.
But also do your research too.
Yes.
You know, take interest in what's going on now. Because
Don't use your phone just for TikTok
this
and
election
videos.
thing, dog, these youths and them need to understand too. All this bangarang going on. They not for their parents.
I like that word you use, you know.
Yeah, bangarang. But they not for them. They for all you.
So here the question I come to ask you. Can we admit or are we mature enough to admit that some of us are voting from a place of race and
Of
not
course.
country?
Of course, of course. Of course. And but race is an issue, you know, and it's very disgusting to see now. You know, especially around elections, you'll be seeing it all on the Facebook, all in the comments, it'll be like, wow, this country's so divided, bro.
And you know what's crazy? We just came out of a carnival season where everybody was
Everybody's
love.
one by.
Everybody was love. Everybody was
Everybody's one
togetherness.
by.
You outside, you talking to people you have
But you know
never
what has killed me
seen.
too? When I was growing up and it had like the Indian Negro argument with the PNM and UNC, it used to look like Indian Negro, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now it don't even look like that now. So how race is still a thing?
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand that part now. You know, like how? All the parties mix up. So why it is now? Like why we holding on to this? I could never understand that, and I don't support that kind of energy.
Now,
you
we
know?
don't. Not on
Nah.
Talks at KG, not
Nah,
on
nah,
the
nah,
hub.
nah, nah.
It's coming from a place of, as we both said, this is not for now. This is
Yeah.
not for April 28th.
Yeah.
This is not even a paid political program.
Definitely.
We were on our independent platforms. We ended up to this conversation because we have always had conversations of things that are relevant.
Yeah.
And I think it was only fitting for us to get the perspective of two young people, male, female, seeing the importance of what April 28th is about.
Yes.
So again, from my platform, from KG's platform, please exercise your civil rights
Please.
and go out and vote. We taking it, we coming back, we doubling back to what KG is and what KG has always been and what KG is going to continue to be.
Yeah.
And that is creating a space and a place for young people.
Yeah.
I want you to take this moment to talk to the uninspired or even the young woman or the young man who is struggling to identify their purpose. Take this moment and have a conversation with them, letting them understand that purpose with no work is still no purpose. Purpose with no direction is still no purpose. Purpose without asking for help is still no purpose.
Yep.
Talk to them and let them understand what purpose should really be, what it should look like.
Purpose. You know.
We're not here by chance only, we're here by
Yeah.
purpose. We're here by purpose.
Yeah, no lie. You know, purpose is passion. You know,
I will agree with that.
whatever you're passionate about. I mean, we have many passions, and we have many purposes. Purposes is a word.
We just created on our
Yeah,
platform, if it's not the word purposes.
You have many purposes because we could be many things. You know, you'd rather be one thing. Go through your journey. Take
Yeah.
your time. Be humble. You know, be brave. You know, anything that you want to do, find a way. Start small. I remember when I start my podcast, somebody messaged me and be like, bro, you really inspire me, you know, you inspire me to start my thing because I thought I had to get a whole fancy setup and
Yeah.
thing. And I see you just have two
Yeah.
angles and a microphone. I
Correct.
was like, yeah, bro. I was like, don't ever feel like because you want to be something, you have to be the highest level of that today. You could be the lowest level of that, but you are still that.
And then you
And it's a
eventually,
growing process.
eventually
Think
happens.
about the seed in the plant pot.
Yeah.
That is what it is. It is a seed. And you water it, and you water it, and you nurture it, and you till it, and you take care of it, and you consistently give it care and love
And
good
sunlight,
energy.
yes.
Plants will just grow. You know? You have to take care of plant. You have to love your plant. Sometimes you have to sing with your plant. It's a
Yes.
serious thing.
Sometimes you find
You know?
yourself talking to your plants
But you have to.
and you're waiting for answer.
Don't
And you know,
talk to it now, you go dead.
and you know what the answer is?
Yeah.
When you see it start to blossom, the answer that you was looking for, the plant is now giving it
The plant
to
is
you.
giving it, you know. So nurture your journey, you know, take care of yourself, take care of your mind, because everything is connected too. As you say, you could have a purpose, you could have a talent, you could have passion for something, but if you're not living right, it will never be
happen.
fruitful.
Yeah.
If you water in your plant with poison,
Yeah, how you
your
expect
plant
it to
will
grow?
die. You know, it will have hard days. It will have days where you'll wake up and you'll feel stiff. You'll feel like, wait, but I don't know what to do.
Tell me if you ever had this day. You know you have an interview today.
Yeah. Yeah, I sure I don't know you're going to say
Listen.
it. I tell Chinese that today
Listen
I know
to
what
me.
I feel.
You know you have an interview
Yeah.
today. You know what you want to talk about.
Right.
You know what you're paying on. But something inside it, internally, it ain't adding up.
Right.
And you have to tell
The
yourself,
energy, you ain't feeling it.
And you have to tell yourself,
Yeah,
when
just
am
get
I
up and
gone? Nobody in the world
Yeah.
should be aware that you see today wasn't today, and
From the
boy.
time I say, welcome to another episode of Talks with KG,
Listen.
that is the day. Everything blank off. We it's a serious thing. And that is passion.
And when you finish, you telling yourself,
Thank
you is
you.
not the same person
Yeah.
who didn't want to put on the camera
but
and do this.
You proud of yourself. Dog, back in the
Listen
days.
to me, as Shiny tell me in one of my interviews,
Yeah.
I'm proud of you, you know, but I'm proud of me first.
Yeah.
And it makes sense.
Yeah. Even when you're not feeling to do it, do it.
Get up
I think
and
that is like
do
a
it.
golden key. And I'm not learning that more and more as I grow. It are many times I just get up and I don't want to do something.
Look me.
And I will just happen to do it.
Yeah.
And when I do it, I just feel so
good.
so progressive. I feel like I grow inches.
Yes.
I feel like, yes, KG, just keep it up and we go reach.
You have
understand?
this.
So,
You see me telling myself, I ride the hub, this is going to hit where it needs to hit.
push yourself.
Come on.
No, but
we
Tameeka, I'm
going.
being real, I'm very proud of you because I know you've been trying to do this
Correct.
for a while.
Correct.
A while, you know. So to see how you do it and to see the way how you find a lane too, you ain't just, and it goes to show, I'll be talking in the earlies, you just do 90% of the time, it doesn't work.
And then that 10%.
And then you just have to come down to yourself and be like, what to really do? And you find your lane.
Let me add to that, right? The 10% is you.
Yeah,
But to get that other 90 is the people around you.
yeah,
Like my cameraman, he could
Right.
read me.
yeah.
So he will come and he say, hey, relax,
Yeah.
take your time.
Timing is everything.
Take your time.
Yeah, you have to
Your
find the right
village,
team,
your
you know.
village is also everything.
True, true.
So we telling them go and vote, but we also telling them check your environment.
Yeah, live
check
right.
yourself.
Check yourself, bro.
Check yourself.
It's a serious
Check
thing.
yourself.
I'll be around my bedrooms and them, and I might talk down the head, and you know, and then might be like, hey, my kids, you say I talk, boy, you know, but I understand the importance of us having those type of conversations consistently, you know, because, I mean, you are what you eat, you are what you listen to,
You are what you think.
look at, you are what you talk about.
Yes.
You know, you are who you are wrong.
Yeah.
It's so deep now, boy. You know, and I wish I knew this my whole life.
Yeah.
I would have been so much further. I would have keep the right people around me.
you.
All them fake friend energy and thing I don't dash with them long time. You know, certain
KG.
places I put myself I never go.
KG, like I'm hearing you talking and hear what is
It's
going
so
through my
real, eh?
hear what is going through my mind, and I ask this all the time on the station. Maybe we need to stop asking what could country do for me,
Yeah.
and ask what can I do for country.
All that.
So for me, it's like making sure we have functioning community centers.
Yeah.
And inside the community centers, it's filled with people who are part of the community who could impact other persons in the community.
So when you ask what would I probably say, that I was to lead to that. You know, I wanted to be a part of a community center and teach children, help children, mentor children, and see other people just like me,
Yes.
looking like me, do the same thing too. Die the plan, Tameeka. That is what I want to see more of in my country.
That
Inspiration.
I am here for it.
Yeah.
I have stopped asking what can country do for me,
Yeah,
and I'm
what can I do
constantly
for country?
asking myself, what can I do for country? And
Right
between
mindset.
KG and I, between Talks with KG and the Hub, we are really bringing snippets of our country to your phone, to your laptop,
Definitely.
to YouTube, to Spotify.
Yep.
And we just, all you have to do is click it,
Yeah.
listen to it,
Support
and let it
it.
resonate
Yeah, yeah,
somewhere within you.
Yeah, yeah,
Brother, we have a long way to go, you know.
yeah. Tameeka, we now start.
We have a long way to go,
Telling
you know.
We now start. And it's
I
a
am,
blessing.
and I am like you.
Yeah.
I am eager to give part of myself back to community.
Definitely. Of course. That is the purpose.
That is where I am
Yeah.
at now.
You gotta ask somebody, what is your intention? When you doing something, you must have an intention.
Yeah.
Is it fame? Is it money?
Is it impact?
Is it impact?
Is it legacy?
Is it legacy? Are you trying to change the minds of the people? What are you trying to do? So I want to get you one story before I know how much camera time we have or anything, you know. But somebody told me that they didn't want to link with a certain vlogger. I won't call his name.
Right.
Right? But the vlogger was in Trinidad and he was filming all
Yeah.
over Trinidad and wherever. And they said that the reason why they didn't want to link with him was because they asked the person what was your true intention by doing these videos. And he said he has none. And it was like, that not making sense to me.
Right.
You must have an intention.
For anything that you do.
Everybody have an
Yeah.
intention. So from the time he said that, the person was like, that means you have bad intentions. That person was upset because they do the same thing. They vlog. They go into poor countries, poor communities, and they vlog too. But when they vlog, they give back. You know, they come up with a plan on, all right, so I see the guns, I see the crime, I see the poverty. What can I do to help this situation? He believed that that vlogger never had that intention. So you had bad intentions. So as you say, we do in this podcast, we do in our content, wherever, what is your intention?
You throw that question to
Of
me?
course.
My intention is to ensure that the story of somebody else, when that person sits and give a piece of themselves to the world, it resonates with somebody else who doesn't have that vulnerability to be bold enough to tell their story. Because I always say, you and I may be going through the same thing, but if I don't open my mouth or you don't open your mouth, I will know what's happening.
Correct.
And the moment you start talking to me, you begin to put me in a safe place because I am now telling myself, way boy,
Yeah, he understands.
KG, you too?
Yeah.
So you
yeah.
understand where I'm coming from.
Communication.
And what happens is that we begin to feed off of each other. So you begin to give me a perspective I may have never seen.
Right.
And it's within that perspective that could help alter my narrative.
Right.
But if our mouths are shut and our minds are closed, how then can we help a brother?
Correct.
Each one teach one, KG.
Correct, correct. You gotta talk to each other.
Each one teach one.
Yeah. Come
So
to
I had
each
to
other.
take the question and flip it to you now. What is your intention with Talks with KG?
Basically the same thing, and also, well, I guess it's the same thing. But if I had to just put it in my own words, I
Yeah.
would just say to give a voice to the voiceless.
Yes.
You know, and to
Yes.
also promote conversation.
And
you
culture.
know, put down the guns, the rah-rah thing unnecessary. We could sit down and have conversation.
Yes, we can.
You know, I could be from here, you could be from there. We could have two different perspectives and we could sit down,
Yes.
have a conversation and still smile and cut off the camera. You know? So I push in that type of energy. And yeah, we just trying to push the culture, you know, push
Yeah.
the industry, push the arts, push the artists, push the youths, put the camera on them, put the light on them, you know, and encourage youths to push for greatness.
And that's a fact, and
know?
in case no one told you before, it's safe places we are creating without us even knowing it. We are creating this place where people are comfortable
Yeah.
and eager to want to be a part of it because they want to get their voices heard.
Yeah.
I always tell people, and I think this is the first time I'm going to tell myself this, to whom much is given, much is required.
Correct.
And I think once we carry that in our back pockets, we will understand the weight of what we are really putting out into Trinidad and Tobago, and by extension, the world.
True. True.
But you can't come in the hub
Yeah.
and talk with your hand
Oh, God, what you
in
just
the
said?
bowl.
Bacchanal?
Pick a question.
Oh, good.
I will go with you. So you will be by yourself. I find tonight I really have you.
What this question?
I don't like my
Yeah.
question. I think I like my question.
I'll let me cry here tonight, boy.
What the man say? The hub. Only get that one more time. When he said the hub will make him cry here tonight. You know, I'm here for men and their emotions. Don't do that at all.
Yeah. So I read the mind?
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, you want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first.
All right, let me go first. My question is, who have you had to forgive too many times?
So your question is to ask me and
No,
my...
no, no.
Oh.
My question is for me
Yeah,
to
right,
answer.
yeah.
Who have you had to forgive too many times? Ooh, this is the first time I'm going to say this out
Damn,
loud.
there's a deep one here. Boy.
Hey, myself.
Huh.
Myself. And it has taken me a very long time to admit that answer that I just gave to the world.
Yeah.
I have, just like you said, I subjected myself to so many things that I think I didn't deserve, and I knew I didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
But because of lack of direction, lack of purpose, lack of confidence, and I'll admit that publicly,
Yeah.
lack of confidence kept me in places and spaces that
It didn't belong.
I didn't belong. So the person I had to forgive the most,
Yeah.
it will be Tameeka Castillo.
That's a proper answer, man. What is a dream you have let go of?
Wow.
Damn. Everybody know. Everybody watching this know. Who know KG know? You know? KG artist, you know, and that was definitely my dream. My dream was when I look at young brother for the carnival and thing, I'd be
Yes.
like, that's who I wanted to be.
Oh my
You
gosh,
know?
intrudes.
Man, I wanted to be KG man. You know, I out there, I am a bad song and the crowd love me and I was a big artist, you know, like that was definitely the dream.
Intrudes.
You know?
You know, I really forgot that for once.
Yeah, like artists, like that is who I am, you know, that is my core. That is what bring me here. Music, singing, writing, performing, you know. And years I remember my brethren, big up Swanee, he used to always tell me, you had to choose one, bro.
Wow.
He say you can't do all.
Can't be a master.
And I
sir.
say get vexed.
Yeah.
Anytime he tell me that, because we grew up in a time where we think being, what is the word?
All over the place.
What is the word?
I know what you're talking. I know what you're talking about.
Oh God, give me the word. Like, say artists could sing one type of music. Huh?
Versatile?
Versatile. Right? Growing up, we thought versatility was like this superpower. You know, I could do this, I could do that. A man asks you, what position you play on the field? I can play striker, center mid,
I can be
center
goalkeeper.
back. Yeah. What kind of songs you sing? I do soca, dance, or reggae. Man, watching you like, what? Why are you doing everything? You're like, who are you then? You know? So he's always telling me, dog,
You can't be
choose
a jack of all trades.
you could, but master of none, mate.
Yes.
You understand? You ain't taking time to master none, mate. You're just doing everything, mate. Monday you're singing, Tuesday you're filming. Come on. And I never took time to mold anything. So while I was singing music on stages, singing, the next day I would be on a stage with a camera, taping an artist. How? Like, that not even making sense now, you know? So it took me years to really say, you know what, I'll give the music a rest. I think I have a greater purpose. You know, when I started to use my voice more, you know, because a lot of the youths around me don't have a voice like mine.
Yeah.
You know, they probably can't articulate themselves like me.
Correct.
So I always had to be the big brother. I always had to be the one to talk
Yeah.
and say why, you know. So I realized I had a purpose. And even my little brothers around me, they would tell me that too. They'd be like, people like when you talk KG, you know.
Wow.
Do that, you know. And I say, you know what, let me give the music a rest. And it break my heart. I'll be real to you.
You still miss it?
Yeah. Bad, you know.
You're hearing it in his voice,
Yeah,
though.
bad,
You're
bad.
hearing it.
Because, who know me, I'm tooting my own horn. But it's not bad artist, but you understand? It's not like KG was some kind of...
Fly by night.
No, bro, I have good songs, you know. I listen back my songs and be like, dog, you really bad, innit? Like, you bad, innit? Like, you're bad. You had a chance. I know I could have... Boss, you know? Boss. But, yeah, I don't regret it, you know, because, as I say, I made the decision.
Yeah.
But it was just a hard decision.
To make.
Like, yeah, but God is good. And as soon as I made the transition,
Things started
my life
to
opened
happen.
up immediately. I was a broke artist. I was an artist. I was just home, no money in my pocket, just singing songs, putting it on YouTube, hoping that one day
Something will happen.
will happen. That was my journey through music. You know, girl booking here and there, small money. That was the journey of being an artist in Trinidad. And as soon as I say, you know what? Nah, boy, I bigger than that, boy. You know? People always tell me I was a struggling artist, but a successful brand. Because everybody always knew who was KG.
Struggling artist,
Yeah.
but a successful
They say if
brand.
people like just know about me, they would look at me like, yeah, boy, you know.
He good. He making it.
Something, but
Yeah.
yeah. But when they look at my views on YouTube with my music compared to other artists, they would compare me now. So I'm getting millions of views. I get in the thousands, you know. So it looking like they're bigger than me. And I had a problem with that too, you know, because I also
That's the same
knew-
thing we talk about as a
Yeah.
creative when you put it out and
I
it's
had
not
a problem with
received.
that. I didn't like that. I was like, oh, they're disrespecting me. Or? Like, I know I good. So why are they not giving me the respect that I deserve? Until I realized that that really wasn't my calling.
Correct.
Music was just the beginning of the journey. It was just for me to, now I could go in a studio and I could tell our engineer what to do. You know, I could pump at my cameraman and tell him, hey, load on that ISO. You know, put it on this, put it on that, set it this way.
But I think
You
your
know?
cameraman bad like mine.
You feel so? Nah, the baddest cameraman.
I don't think your cameraman
I
bad
had the
like
baddest
mine.
talks with
I'm
KG.
sure
Had the
about
baddest
that.
cameraman.
The hub with
Yeah.
Tameeka Castillo in her back.
All your vote. All your vote in the comments. All your vote in the comments. Who are the better cameraman? yeah.
No, but it takes a lot of vulnerability and
Yeah.
honesty for you to say what it is you just said.
I let go of the dream. You know, I let go of the dream.
And he has created something that is not just for himself, but it's for
course.
others.
Of
He
course.
he continues to hand the microphone over to people who they have so much to say, and he gives you the avenue to say it. And I think it was a bold move, because if
Yeah,
you're
for
stuck
sure.
with the music, I think God would have seen you as selfish.
Yeah.
And now you're in a space
I
where,
definitely was feeling
yeah. So
I feel like I had more to offer.
yes,
you know.
now you're in a space where I could do for me, but I could also do for others.
Of course. And that is the goal.
That is the goal. As I said before, and I say it again, to whom much is given, much is required. You all know where to find KG for KG
Definitely.
Talks. He has been doing this for the past year. The past year, he has had so many people on his platform, and it keeps growing.
Yep.
So you all know what to do, where to find him. Remember, Tameeka Castillo, Love Like the Hub, and Talks with KG.
That is it. Bro.